Today on the We Invested podcast, we have Greg Ryder, and he is the founder and CEO of LaunchCart. Greg, how are you doing today?
I'm loving life, man. Loving life, living the entrepreneur dream at this point in my life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And would you mind letting the people know how they can find your website or social media or just different places on the internet?
Yeah, sure. The easiest way to find launch carts, it's launchcart.com, like you're launching a rocket ship launch, or in shopping cart, CART. So launchcart.com. And best way to track me down is just my domain, gregwriter.com. And my last name is spelled unique. It's WRITER, like a typewriter or an author. So gregwriter.com. And that's pretty much my handle on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and everywhere else. And I've been doing digital marketing for a long time. So if you Google my name, I come up with about probably 30,000 times. Who knows?
Nice, nice. And so, let's start from the top and talk a little bit about, where you're from and where you grew up.
Yeah, you know what? I was born in Denver, Colorado. And let me ask you this question because of your podcast and what you do. I'm assuming you've read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that book was written about me. So I always tell people that if you know Kiyosaki, tell him I want my royalties. But I was born into a really, really wealthy family in Colorado, and my parents got divorced when I was 2, and I went with my mom, and she got married and divorced and married and divorced and married and divorced. So I had 3 different poor dads, and visited my rich dad. And my rich dad taught me how to invest when I was 19 years old. And I started making 20, 30, 40 grand a month when I was just a young kid. And I said, man, this is easy. And I got my stockbroker's license when I was 21. And by the time I read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I'm like, dude, I got to this guy I'm working for is taking half my money. I'm going to buy him out. So I went to my dad. I said, Dad, this guy's taking 50% of my paycheck. I'm making 20 grand a month, 30 grand a month. He's taking all of it. And there was 6 other guys at our office. We were all between the 7, there was 7 of us total. We were doing anywhere from $100,000 to $300,000 a month in commissions. We were crushing it. This is 1980, 81, 82, the early 80s. And so I said, I want to buy him out. And what do you think the rich dad said? He said, go for it. So I bought him out, and I was the youngest. I was hailed as the youngest owner of an investment banking firm in the history of the country at age 21. That was my first big mistake in life. I'm one of those guys that you say, hey, if you had to do it all over again, would you do it the same way? Like, I would not do it the same way. I would definitely do it different. But I was an early adapter, raised hundreds of millions of dollars for entrepreneurs, coached thousands of entrepreneurs, took companies public, mergers and acquisitions, the whole works. Retired in the late 90s, moved out here to California, and started getting into the internet space, started doing digital marketing in the late 90s, 1997, I think it was. And, now I am an entrepreneur, and I'm building a better, faster, higher converting e-commerce platform to transform e-commerce around the globe.
I mean, that's an incredible story, man, a very rich history that you have. But, making $30,000, $40,000, $20,000 a month for a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, that would be really hard to do. Not really hard to do, but it could be difficult to manage.
So, well, back in those days, you got to think of the 80s. That was like making 150, 200 grand a month now, exactly. Practically, right? It was a lot of money. And I was just putting it in, investing in stocks and putting it and blowing it up my nose and all that kind of stuff. So, I did. If you ever saw the movie Wolf of Wall Street, that's kind of the era that I was living in.
Man, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. So it was really like that back in the 80s.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
I wasn't quite as bad as they did in that movie, but everybody did cocaine. Everybody drank. I mean, the market closed at 2. We were at the bar at 2:15. It was incredible.
So y'all were just rock stars, like just at the time, just living rock stars.
It was the wild, wild west. There was some cool stuff about it, and there was some very rewarding stuff about it, right? I remember, like, one of my very best memories is this guy came to me, and this is a great memory, but it turned out to be a terrible memory or terrible thing. But this guy came to me, and I don't know if you show the video, but the guy came to me and he goes, I've invented that card, the chip. I invented a chip for credit cards. This is 1983.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, I need money. And so I raised him $5 million. And I thought we had negotiations going on with, or he did, American Express, Visa, and MasterCard, which were really the only three players at that time. And he goes, we're going to eliminate fraud. We got the ship for the cards. And I thought it was my very first underwriting, my very first deal that I did, $5 million. And I'll never forget giving that. We did the money raise. We went to the closing table, and I handed the guy a $5 million check, tears coming out of his eyes of happiness. And he just hugged me and says, "Thank you for helping me make my dream come true." And I'm like 22 years old. It was just like amazing. It was like the feeling was incredible. That's the good news. The bad news is he had a heart attack and died.
No.
His wife inherited all the stock. She had an affair with an attorney, and they sold the technology somewhere else that had never resurfaced up until about 7 or 8 years ago.
What?
Yeah. It's like,
oh my God, man, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
I got a few of those. I'll tell you one more if you want to hear one more.
Absolutely.
So I had this other guy come to me, and he invented this thing called the Birdview satellite. It was one of the very first satellite deals. It was one of the very first companies to go from 0 to $100 million in sales in 1 year, and had a great track record, sold out of that. And he invented this drum, a bass drum for bands, like, not a drum, a speaker, a bass speaker. And he had Elton John's bass players using it in Elton John's band. He had Reba McEntire's and all this kind of stuff. So as part of my due diligence, I got to go to Tennessee and meet all these people and see him playing with this bass speaker thing. And they were telling me how great it was. And it was just like, I'm like, dude, I got Elton John's like bass player and drummer and all these people talking about this speaker and how great it was. And then I go to Reba McEntire, and I'm in Nashville. Like, God, this is like the coolest thing in the world. Like, I love this. Like, my life is amazing. So we raised him a bunch of money, and then he just kind of went on this disappearing act. And it's like we're trying to call him. He doesn't answer the phone calls. Nothing of this. And then finally, I get a hold of. I fly out to his where he was. And I get with his people, and I'm like, "Hey, where is he? Oh, we haven't seen him in days." "What do you mean I haven't seen him in days?" "Oh, he's an alcoholic. Didn't you know that?" I'm like, "He's an alcoholic." Oh, he goes, "Oh yeah, he drinks he goes off on these drunken binges for days and days and days at a time." And I'm going, boom, shoot me in the head, right? We lost all of our money, of course. And it's just one of those things to where, you learn these lessons. Right. I was 23, 24 years old again at that time. Like, I didn't know you should go do a background check and see if the guy's an alcoholic and have him do drug tests and stuff like that. So, but that's kind of why in today's, world, we do all these things, because we've just been smoked, those old timers been smoked so many times by, he had a great track record and a great stuff, but he became an alcoholic.
Man, these are some incredible stories, man. And these stories are what make the podcast golden. But I wanted to ask, you mentioned that you got started in digital marketing in the late 90s, after retiring in your financial career. So, I want to kind of transition and focus a little bit more on the company that you're building and growing now and expanding. What is LaunchCart?
So LaunchCart is a Shopify alternative. So basically, it's an e-commerce platform. So it's a e-commerce enabled website builder. So you want to sell T-shirts, hats, hoodies, hair extensions, hair care, whatever you make, whatever you create, you want to sell it. You can go and create a website to sell your stuff. And we also have it set up so you can sell digital products and digital downloads, things of that nature. And so really it's just an e-commerce platform. And again, another quick story is when I moved out here to California in 1997, I bought the very first e-commerce mall, because back then I had the vision that, man, e-commerce is going to be huge. And so in 1997, I bought the very first e-commerce mall called FirstNet Mall. So I've been doing e-commerce a long time. And, and now I got into working with celebrities and doing stuff with celebrities. And I see that Shopify is a, multi-billion dollar company. So we wanted to create a better, faster, higher converting platform. And we set out to do a couple of things. One is Shopify costs money to use, right? You have to pay your monthly fees. Whether you make any sales or not, you have to make monthly fees. It's pretty, elaborate program. So it takes you a while to learn it and get going. So I wanted to create an easier platform that we get to go to market faster. And I also want to have a freemium model. Like, I noticed you have your merch store and you're selling branded merch. And I'm one of these guys that says, look, every brand, pizza parlor, yoga studio, I don't care, podcaster, doesn't matter who you are, what you do, you should have branded merch. You should be wearing it. You should be giving it away. You should have walking billboards everywhere we go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to have a freemium model. So we first said, okay, let's make it free so people can get started and sell stuff, and we'll take 3% of their sales. So they have their merchant fees, credit card fees, MasterCard, Visa, they got to pay those fees. But then we'll take an extra 3% and you can use our platform for free. So we're the only real full-blown platform that I know of out there that has a freemium model. That's part A. And then part B is I got so upset with Shopify, and maybe you experienced this, Wesley, is that if you want to collect customer reviews, which you pretty much have to collect customer reviews if you want to have a successful e-commerce site, you got to go to their app store, search for the app, download the app, configure the app, and then pay extra for the app. And then if you want to have a promotional bar, you got to go search for the app, download the app, configure the app. If you want to have exit pops, you got to go search for the app, download the app, configure that. Next thing you know, you got 10 apps installed and you're paying like $400 a month, $500 a month.
Exactly.
And each one of those apps slows down your store, hurts your conversions. So we said, that's crazy. Let's build what we call the must-have features in the launch cart. I know you mentioned that. I was looking at your website and you got some cool features. We built in the features that you must have. They're already built in. No apps, no dApps to install, no extra fees. They're built in. Then as a digital marketer who's done tens of millions of dollars digital marketing, I'm like, we also need to have the should-haves. And what are the should-haves? The should-haves are tools that increase your revenue, that help you make more money. And that's like order bumps. So when you're at the checkout page, hey, would you like some fries with that Coke? Order bumps. Mm-hmm. And then upsells and downsells and cross sells and live stream selling and things like that will help you increase your stuff. So we built all that in natively. And now we have this great platform where you can go get set up. And that's kind of part A. And then part B is we integrated with some of the world's best companies for print on demand and manufacture on demand. I think you know what that is. I'm not sure everyone else knows what that is. But the idea is you can take your logo, put it on hundreds of products, t-shirts, hats, hoodies, flip-flops, tennis shoes, phone cases, bean bags, beach towels, you name it. And you can put it up on your site to sell them and never have to pay for inventory till after you sell it. So you build it, you display it, you sell it, then you pay for it. Then they pick, pack, and ship it for you one at a time. It's really transformed the globe in the e-commerce space. Mm-hmm. And so we integrated with some of the biggest and best companies to do that. So we help empower small businesses and entrepreneurs to, build and launch their e-commerce business.
Man, that was a wonderful explanation right there, man. And you got me excited, especially with the freemium model. That is hard not to get pumped up about that. But and this is more of a personal question than it is a question for the podcast. But I want to ask, how easy is it to make that transition and to move out, to migrate all of my information and data onto
from Shopify?
launch cart?
Who are you using for your print on demand provider?
Right now I'm using Printful.
Yeah, I think with Printful you can just connect your store, copy your products over and click a button and copy them over. I think it's fairly simple.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, I'll have to look at it a little bit later on.
And you know what? We have a better affiliate program. And I know you're always helping people with their financial stuff. So, you need to be rewarded for people you refer to the business. So you'll get a special link. You let people click your link, and then you're going to get affiliate commission. And right now we're paying a reoccurring commission for life. So if somebody signs up for our $27 plan, you're going to get 20% of that for forever.
Man, this is incredible. I like how you do business, Mr. Greg Ryder.
Well, it's like when you finance so many entrepreneurs and you've had so many, I've had a lot of wins. I made a fair amount of money, and I've had a lot of losses, a lot more losses than wins. I know how not to do things. I'm 60 years old, so I've learned how not to do things. So, and you know what? It really is about serving people. It's about, and I love what your podcast is about. Because I think that there's an age group, and I don't know, they don't teach people how to make money. They don't teach people financial literacy. They don't teach people investing strategies. And it's like, dude, that's the key to your life. If you can't figure out how to make money and have money work for you and build a business, you're going to be stuck working for the man forever.
Absolutely. I mean, you mentioned that in 1997, late 90s again, you purchased the first online mall, and you had that vision. You were a visionary. You understood where e-commerce could go. But what was that initial spark that even got you looking in the direction of e-commerce and just wanting to study and dive deeper into that and take it on as a career?
You know what? I think because I was an investment banker and we were raising money for early stage companies, I always was seeing new technology like the credit card thing I told you about. Another one of my great stories is this guy, and they don't even have them anymore, I don't think, but this guy walked in my office with two VCRs. I don't even know if you look so young. I don't know if you know what a VCR is, but he had two VCRs in a cardboard box, and he'd welded them together, and he could put a blank VCR in one and put a movie in another and push a button and copy the VCR over. It was called the dual deck VCR. And we raised him capital. So just being in that world for, the first 15, 16, 17 years of my adult life, I became an early adopter, and I just loved entrepreneurs. I loved all the inventions. I was really big in the old as seen on TV space, and helping people in the infomercial and doing stuff like that. And I raised some of the original seed capital for Home Shopping Network. Like we believed in Home Shopping Network. Guy says, hey, we're going to sell stuff on the television 7/24, 365, and we believed in him and gave him money. So because of that, when the internet came around, I'm an early adopter. That's just my personality type. And I'm like, God, I love this. This is incredible.
That's awesome, man. And so, how do you see the market expanding for e-commerce in the future? What is your outlook on just the e-commerce space as a whole?
Well, you kind of mentioned it earlier when we were talking, I think before we went on the air, is that first of all, it enables, it lowers the barrier of entry for everybody to start their own business, right? You can get a merchant account, you can get a credit card account. And that used to be a pain in the what to get a credit card, be able to accept credit cards. Now it's easy. Go to my platform, have it done in 5, 10, 15 minutes. So, and the idea that you can create a digital ebook, or you can create a video course on your expertise, or maybe you're doing football drills or you're doing basketball drills, and you can sell stuff, and or maybe you just want to have your own. We have a lot of people that do their faith based for their church, or they do it for their nonprofit. They got their faith based line, or and this one guy that I know, when the Black Lives Matter thing just kind of blew up, he created a really cool, unique design for Black Lives Matter. He sold $600,000 of t-shirts in like 3 months.
Wow.
So because it went viral, blew up. And so that's there. But also from a long-term perspective, you're building an asset that you can sell. So for instance, let me give you an example. So I'm building a site called Rescue Joe. And if you know anything about coffee, I love coffee. One of the acronyms for coffee is Joe. So I got Rescue Joe. And my tagline is drink a cup, save a pup. And we're going to donate 10% of all of our revenues to dog rescues. So I'm going after the niche of coffee drinkers, which is the #1 drug in the world, right? People are so addicted to coffee, it's crazy. It's got reoccurring business that comes to it. I can make t-shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff along with Rescue Joe. And then I can also create dog bowls and dog leashes and all the accessories that goes with pets. And pets is a huge online business. And the brand's kind of catchy. Rescue Joe, drink a cup, save a pup. So if I put energy and effort into that for a year, and then another year, and another year, and another year, that could be a $4 or $5 million a year business 5 years from now. I could pass it off to my kids. I could sell it. I'm building an asset. And another thing I think about is, and maybe you're in this space, but I'm really, really excited about the NIL space. The college athletes and the high school athletes can now monetize their brand. So you're the best quarterback at the high school, and you're getting ready to get drafted to college, or you're the best high school basketball player. Instead of going straight to the pros because you want to make money, you can start monetizing your brand. Well, if Nike comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to sponsor you," say, "Yeah, I want to have it. I'll sell your product or I'll rep your stuff, but I want to have it on my store."
Right.
Because I want that customer to be with me for the rest of my life. Because I might be with you for a couple of years, but I want these customers to be with me and help me build my brand. So I think e-commerce and website enables people to do that, start to build their own database, their own customer base, their own community. And I really believe that's the future, is that there's so many people that are anti-big tech. I don't want to give my money to these big tech companies. I want to invest in Wesley. I want to buy your stuff to help you. And I think that's a trend that's going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Absolutely. I mean, I think those are all great insights that you have on the market, and just different ways that e-commerce can continue to help shape the economy and what we do and how we consume. That rescue Joe is a genius idea because for the past 10 years, I'll say, or 5 years, one of the business trends has been just running a business and having a business with the cause behind it,
Right.
something with a deeper meaning, uh making a bigger impact than just making money, but you're actually using those proceeds to save an animal and save a dog. So I think that's a genius idea. But I want to ask, what strategies have worked for you personally when while trying to get the word out for these different companies and different websites and different ideas that you have?
Well, that's a good question. And it kind of goes back to marketing. So when I left
Mm-hmm.
the investment banking business, I kind of made a decision. I started looking at, why did I make money on these deals? Why did I lose money on these deals? And I got all these worthless stock certificates. And why did these entrepreneurs fail? And I really kind of did some reflection and kind of looking at my investment strategy and why companies, failed and didn't fail. And I really came to two conclusions in my mind. And one was marketing and management, right?
Mm.
So with great marketing, you can kind of have mediocre management, maybe even crappy management, still make it. And you can have great management and great marketing and make a fortune. But if you have great management and crappy marketing, you can maybe make it. But you really need those two things. You need good management and good marketing. And I'm like, okay, management's people, and that's just a whole nother thing. But marketing, so I decided I was going to become one of the top marketers in the world in my own mind. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go. So I start buying all the books, and you can see I don't know if you can see my bookshelves. I bought the books, bought the courses, spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars every year going to courses and buying things and learning. And then I was really getting good at marketing. And then somebody said to me, if you want to get really good, you got to teach it, because only
Mm.
teaching once you commit to being teach. So then I said, that's a good point. So then I taught marketing all over the globe from 2004 to 2009. I traveled all over the globe teaching tens of thousands of entrepreneurs marketing. And so I really believe that marketing is the key. And so I'm one of these guys that believes the person, the company, the business, the brand who can spend more money on advertising, buying traffic and buying customers wins always, right?
Mm.
And then how do you do that? Well, you have to be really good at your analytics, and you got to know your numbers, and you got to be able to do two things: track your results and optimize your results. And of course, now there's 100 things to do with that, right? But it really is two things: track results, optimize results. So the minute I can spend money and I can track my results, optimize results, spend more money and get better results, the next thing you know, I'm spending money. And like when I was doing drop shipping, we did 400,000 orders in 9 months. I collected $17 million from 0 to 17 million in sales in 9 months, 400,000 credit cards, but I spent $7 million of my own money on ads, and I netted 15%. But you think about that and you're going, man, can you imagine a mall? You're in a mall anywhere in the world, and you get 400,000 customers. Doesn't exist. The world is the mall, right? So you get good at advertising, you get at tracking, you get good at optimizing, and you can make things work, right? So I think when you ask that question, I invest in money in advertising. I spend money, I buy traffic. Now, a lot of people don't have the financial wherewithal to do that. So then you got to get really good at building a community, starting a podcast, starting a following, getting your Instagram going, getting your TikTok going, understanding Pinterest. I know people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just off their Pinterest account in e-commerce because they're really good at search engine and Pinterest marketing. So there's no reason for anybody not to be able to make money these days.
So what are some signs to you that let you know, okay, this marketing campaign was successful?
Oh, really? It's customer acquisition cost, my cost per lead.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know your average order value. You have to know the lifetime value of your customer. And again, I've been doing it so long, back when we were doing Facebook, when Facebook first came out and we were doing Facebook ads, we were getting customers for $2, $3, $4, $5. So if I'm selling a t-shirt for 20 and I'm buying it for 10 and I can acquire a customer for 5, I'm making 5. Well, now it costs us $15 and $20 and $25 to acquire a customer. So now I'm like, okay, how do I increase my average order value? How do I get my average order value from 20 to 45? So I'm breaking even. Or how do I make a second sale a week later or 2 weeks later? Do I have a membership site? Do I have a continuity program like Rescue Joe? Can I sell you the coffee and then get you on a monthly subscription? Like, so what, or can I sell you the coffee to eat or buy a dog bowl? Can I sell you the coffee to eat or buy a t-shirt? So it's all about what can you do with upsells, downsells, cross sells, marketing strategies to increase your average order value so your advertising is profitable.
When I listen to you talk, I can hear the passion, and I can hear the effort and the time put in to understand the market and understand the sales. But you got your start in finance. Do you feel like your true love has always been like sales and marketing and products?
You know, I think my real true passion really is I love marketing. I love marketing. I love business development. I love cutting deals. Um, and I'm one of these guys that I want to have people that do the operations and do those mundane deals. I like the multitasking. I like the chaos of 1 minute I'm on a podcast with you, the next minute I'm talking about some professional NBA player he had something set up his merch store, and then I'm on with somebody else talking about something else. I guess that's just been my life for so long. It's just natural to me. But again, you said something it's key. I always coach entrepreneurs, like, figure out a way to make money with your passion, something you're passionate about, that you want to get out of bed, that you don't feel like you're getting out of bed and you want to kill yourself because you're going to a job you hate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and you know, how did you go about just gaining your business acumen and increasing your business IQ? Was it trial and error? Was it, these books that you read? Was it a mentorship, or was it a combination of all of the above?
It really was all the above. But I can tell you one thing that drove all that, and that was my philosophy and my values, right? So my philosophy was, and I learned this from a guy named Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins. And my philosophy was, if you're not learning and growing, you're dying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like I bought into this principle that, and I hated school, by the way. I dropped out on college. I hated school. I barely graduated high school. And then my rich dad wanted me to go to college. And so I went to college reluctantly, and I ended up dropping out. Actually, I got kicked out, to be honest with you. So I didn't really like school, but then I bought into this philosophy that you could learn. And so I learned how to hang glide, and I love hang glide, and I learned how to ski, and I'm a great skier. So I learned how to ski. And you say, go take that passion of hang gliding into what you're doing. And when I was working with these entrepreneurs and helping them with their dreams, it was such a great feeling to help them finance their dreams and see all this new technology, all these new inventions. It was real passionate for me. So, but I bought in that philosophy. I remember, I think it was Jim Rohn who said, try to learn 20 minutes every day, and watch a video, read a book, listen to a DVD, listen to a CD. And I can't tell you that I've done that every day since I was 21 years old or 19 years old when I read that book, Think and Grow Rich and all those stuff. But I can tell you I've almost done it. I've almost learned 20 minutes every day my entire life. Like I constantly am trying to sharpen my pen, sharpen my skill sets. And I'm a big believer of paying for the right mentors and to be in the right room. So let me give you another example. I've been involved in a number of masterminds that cost $25,000 a year to be in. Some of those times when I joined those masterminds, I couldn't afford it. I didn't have the money to go in those masterminds, but I wanted to be in that room with other people that wrote $25,000 checks, because I recognize if I am not in a room with people that are smarter than me, that are making more money than me, I'm in the wrong room.
Absolutely.
Right. And that's just the age old stuff. So you have to pay to play sometimes, right? You have to pay to play, and maybe it's go to the events, and maybe it's you're buying the books, you're reading the stuff. And I still do it. I just spent $1,500 today on a course that I bought it in 2015. I just bought it again to get the new updated version, because I want to sharpen my tools on doing events, because now that COVID's kind of over and we're doing events again, I'm going to start doing events again. So I think that's just key, that you constantly are learning. And so I guess the point I want to make is, if I could teach every entrepreneur one thing, it's learn. And I think I heard you say this on one of your, maybe it was you, but it's like your best investment you can make is in your self-learning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and that's something that I admire, and that's been a theme throughout this episode, is that you're a student of the game. Like you're constantly learning, constantly striving to better yourself. When some people would feel comfortable and being able to retire early, you still kept that curiosity. You still kept learning and kept pushing your limits and pushing yourself. And just as far as you said something important, but being that you wanted to pay to get into these rooms, you wanted to be around these people who were smarter than you. You wanted to surround yourself. You made it a point to surround yourself with people who are like-minded and on the same trajectory that you were on, if not uh, or already there. But I want to ask, you know, to you, what is the importance of having a team, and how did you focus on building your team?
Well, if you want to create anything of significance, really, you really need a team, and it's probably the hardest thing as an entrepreneur to build a team, because we typically like our personality types. We typically hire people that are like us, right? And
Yep.
so you really shouldn't do that. You really should study personality types and then
Mm-hmm.
hire people that kind of fit all those personality types on that personality wheel. And I'm not a personality expert by any means, but it really is important that you have people. And I'm one of these guys that I don't really put a lot of credence in college degrees and that kind of stuff. I want passion. I want work ethics. And what's unfortunate about this day and age, I can't tell you how bad the work ethics of these younger kids are. It's like, come on, man. Where I came from, I'm a Colorado boy, so I'm originally from Colorado. So, excuse the expression, but we had the shit kickers, man. We're wearing cowboy boots, and you got your out, you worked, and,
Absolutely.
and and then I moved out here to California, and everyone's all laid back, and we go and
Absolutely.
surf. The surf's up, dude. We go surfing today, and I'm like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, man, I'm from the country, so it's like, that work ethic was instilled in me at an early age. But I want to ask, what are some lessons or some roadblocks that you learned early on throughout your career in digital marketing, or just your entire career overall?
well, there's a couple thoughts. One is it's really your mindset.
Hmm.
Like having your mindset, and being resolved that you're going to have ups and downs, and you're going to fail, and not being afraid of fear, overcoming fear, false evidence appearing real, overcoming that, and getting out there and doing it and believing you can. And the easiest way to do that, you get a good mentor. You pay for somebody's course, you pay for somebody's coaching, you pay for somebody's mentorship. Like, you think of every significant athlete in the world, everybody, they all have had a trainer, they've all had a coach. Like every Olympic athlete, everybody, right? So you think about that,
Absolutely.
but it all starts here. Like, if you can't get it together in your mind, and between these two ears, the 5 inches between your ears, you're never going to make it, right? So it's all for work on your mindset. And there's all kinds of steps to do that too, right? But work on your mindset first, and then the other best piece of advice I love giving people is, look, this is the golden rule. I guarantee it work for you. Guarantee it work for everyone listening for as long as eternity exists. Small things done consistently over long periods of time guarantee success, right? It's like you with your podcast. How many podcasts have you done?
Close to 200.
If you'd have done 30 or 40 and stopped, would you have the success you have today?
Absolutely not.
Right? And it's only going to compound itself as you continue to do more and more and more.
Hmm.
Weight, if I'm trying to lose weight and I go to the gym every day for a month, does that help? Not really. Not if I quit going.
Right.
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 So it's small things, and it's true in business, it's true in hang gliding, it's true in skiing, it's true in
Hmm.
relationships. Small things done consistently over long periods of time. So
Absolutely, man. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so you combine that with the mindset, going, okay, got the mindset that and again, I love Les Brown. Do you know Les Brown?
Yes, sir.
So he's a friend, and his son's a friend, and I've spoken on stage with him many times. And he always says, "You got to be hungry. You got to be
Wow.
hungry." And he says,
Exactly.
and he goes, "If you're going through hell, keep going. Take it out of there." He's like, right. But he also says, and I don't know if I subscribe to this 100%, but he always says, "Fake it till you make it." And that
Mm,
concept is, you got to talk to yourself that you can do it, that you can be it, that you can become it, you can do it, you can be it, you can become it. until you actually believe you can do it, you can do it, you can become it. And then you start taking those action steps to do it, become it, and that kind of stuff. So I don't like being unauthentic about it. So that's why I say, fake it till you make it. I don't want you to lie to people or be people, but you really have to fight with your own mindset. Can I, get over that fear that I can accomplish this?
Absolutely, man. And I think so growing up, I taught myself how to play the electric guitar. Like I'm a huge Jimi Hendrix
Nice.
fanatic, right? And that kind of got instilled in me at an early age. Like if you stay consistent with something, if you practice it every day, if you do something every day, eventually you have no other option, no other choice but to get good at it. So it's like that consistency and that compounding interest that you were talking about. That is a very true thing, and it's something that resonates with me for sure.
Yeah, very cool. What I would suggest you consider
What's
is
that?
you should do some Jimi Hendrix rips at the beginning of every one of your podcasts as part of your brand.
Hey, that would be dope. That would be a way I could merge two things, like being a rock star and being a podcaster.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. That's awesome.
Exactly. So, how do you define success as an entrepreneur? I mean, you've done the unthinkable already. You've done things that people can't imagine. Making 30, 40,000 dollars a month and running up $17 million in sales in 9 months time. So, at this point in your career, at this point, how do you define success?
Success really to me is measured by your ability to experience happiness. And
Mm,
you don't have to have money to experience happiness. But that, what else is life for if you can't find some happiness and be happy? And
exactly.
there's just so many different areas of happiness, right? But think about your business, think about your relationships, think about your wife, your husband, your kids. There's all kinds of different things that go on in life, and you really need to strive based on your personality, your values, what you want to do. What's going to give you happiness? And the minute you start achieving happiness, you're successful.
Absolutely. How would you like for people to remember you as well as the companies that you created?
Oh, you know what? I just want to be remembered as the giver, and I acquired this nickname called the entrepreneur's best friend. I want to be known and remembered as somebody who helped a lot of people, served a lot of people, was faithful to God, faithful to his family, and it just was an addition to the world and not a subtraction to the world.
Man, I appreciate the energy that you have, man. We started the call off and we started the interview off with high energy. And right now it's about 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'm sure you've had a long day. I'm sure you've been putting in the work. It looks like you're in your office right now, but you still bring this energy and this life and this like excitement about what it is that you're doing, and that energy it's infectious, man. I can feel it through the computer right now.
That's cool. No, and you know what? I think that's just a gift that I have, but I am passionate about it, and I'm strong in my convictions. I'm strong in my philosophies. I'm strong. I'm 60 years old. I've been beat up and have my teeth kicked in many a times. But I've had some cool stories and done some cool things, and I've taken some steps that took me to that change my life. Like I'm starting my own podcast. I'll have to get you on my podcast. I'm starting a podcast called The Law of Exposure. And the
Oh,
law of exposure is kind of a veiled way to get people to go, you need to expose yourself to new things, new cultures, new trainings, new ways to do things, new things. And then you have to step out and be bold and expose yourself to getting shut down, expose yourself to failure. And I have
exactly.
this great story I'll tell you. Do you know who Master P is?
Absolutely.
So so Master P was speaking at this event, and I wanted to meet him, and so I went. I wanted to meet him, but I really didn't know who he was. I just knew he was worth a lot of money,
Right,
like some
right.
people told. And so I was sitting at a table with him, and we were talking at this lunch table at this event, and it was all athletes, and they're all black African American athletes. I was the only white guy there, and they're all big, like and P's big. He's big. And these guys are all 260, 320. They're big guys. And so I told him what we were doing. And at that time, I invented some software to protect kids on the internet from predators, pornography, hate, and violence on the internet. And he's like, "Hey, I want to see what you're doing." So he came and talked to me. And then he said, "I want my daughter to endorse what you're doing."
Mm.
And I'm like, who's your daughter? He goes, my daughter's Symphonique, and she's going to have a show on Nickelodeon. And I'm like, okay, cool. So he walked off and he says, you talked to my assistant. And so I was talking to his assistant, and he said, so I said, what's the scoop? And he goes, well, he's going to call me and tell me. So he called her. So he says, well, he wants you to invest or write a check for like $500,000 to have his daughter, it was some ungodly number to have his daughter, endorse my product. And I said, this is fantastic. I want this to happen. But I said, right. I need you to tell him that I want him to give me $500,000 for me to allow his daughter to endorse my product. Right. And the assistant has she had the phone like this against her chest so he couldn't hear what I was saying. It's like, do you know who you're talking with? And I'm like, and at this time I looked up Master P. I'm like, oh, he's worth $750 million. He wrote 75 million albums. I'm like, yeah, I know who he is. I said, but if you think I'm going to pay somebody to endorse my product to protect and educate kids from predators, pornography, hate, violence, and the internet, you're crazy. He's got to pay me.
Right.
And so she says, I'm not telling him that. I said, give me the phone and see if he'll talk to me. She goes, he wants to talk to you. So she gives me a phone, and I told him that. He's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, nope. He goes, I'll be there in a minute. Hung up the phone. And I earned so much respect from him for asking the way I asked it and the way I did, and the boldness that I went to him at. I ended up doing a partnership with him, and he didn't write a check. I didn't write a check, but we did do a partnership, and we were together for years.
Oh man, how dope is that? Look, he respected the gangster, man. You just approached him, said, look, this is how it's gonna be, this is what it is, this is what we gonna do. You got no choice to respect that,
Yeah. Yeah. So again, you step out in boldness and you expose yourself to different things. And he could have said no, oh well, and it's a cool story. So I'm hoping that these stories inspire people, because that's what it's all about. It's about listening to your podcast, being inspired, being motivated, taking action, and going, okay, what are you going to do next? And that would be my takeaway for everyone too, is like, get out this podcast. If this has inspired you and you are motivated, what are you going to do next?
Yep.
Right.
What does the future of Launch Cart look like to you?
Oh, my boy, oh boy. So I'll give you the last little thing as we wrap up here. So I'm building a drop shipping marketplace as well, called the Source and Sell Marketplace. And I have a vision to transform communities all over the globe. So, lift up communities, whether they're in the United States or whether it's in South Africa or Indonesia or Bangladesh or Malaysia. And we're gonna create this marketplace called the Source and Sell Marketplace, and we're gonna get brands and manufacturers to put their products in the marketplace. And so let's say you're a skateboarder, you love skateboarding, and you're 16 years old, and you want to start a skateboard store. You're going to be able to go to the marketplace and get skateboard decks and skateboard wheels and skateboard this and skateboard that, and build a whole store on Launchcart under your name and under your brand, and you sell it just like you're doing print on demand stuff. So it's like taking print on demand to a whole nother level, and then they drop ship all the products for you. Now that's kind of been done with some China stuff, but we're going to do it with real brands. But the thing that's going to make us different is we're doing banking as a service. So the idea is you're going to go to Launchcart, create your Launchcart account. You're also going to get a bank account. And then when you go create the products from the Source and Sell Marketplace and you create your store, when you sell something from your store, we're going to split the money out. So you don't have to worry about sending money to this vendor, sending money to this vendor, sending money to this vendor. We're going to split that money out for you. And the vendors don't have to worry about you paying them. They're like, I don't know if I want him to sell my Adidas shoes or my Adidas hats or my Nike this or my Louis Vuitton that. Because what if he doesn't pay me? It hurts my brand. So we're going to take all the pain points out of the accounting, the bookkeeping, the banking, and the fulfillment side. And we're going to allow people to become the new distribution channel. We call it on-demand e-commerce and on-demand product sourcing. And I hope to be a multi-billion dollar company that transforms communities all over the globe.
Absolutely, man. You're a living, walking, talking genius right now, man. Like a real genius. And with the plans and you're already doing it to make a global impact. And you're even though you're making a global impact and you're doing something that's super like gutsy, it takes a lot of guts to rival a company such as Shopify. It just shows that courage and that belief that you have in yourself. Like, look, we can take on Shopify, we can beat Shopify, and we can go above and beyond what they're doing. I mean, anybody that hears this and understands that they have to just have a newfound new respect for you, man. Just a new level of respect. And I know me personally, I'm a fan.
I appreciate
fan
that.
right now, and I can't wait to see it.
I appreciate that. No, this will be cool because we're literally just coming out of the woodwork and starting a podcast tour. And you're like one of the first 4 or 5 podcasts I've done. And I plan on doing like 100, 150 the next year and letting the world know we exist because we've had our head down, consistently every day, small things done consistently over long periods of time, 4 years building a competitor Shopify. And for those who don't really realize, what you just said, so Shopify is a $47 billion company.
Yep.
And I literally have people leaving Shopify every day to come with us. And I'm like, I'm pretty proud of that. I'm grateful that God gave me the vision and my teams put this together, but it's pretty humbling to think that somebody would go, I'm going to go with LaunchCard as opposed to Shopify. And a part of it too, is the people that get to know me and meet me going, I want to support Greg. I want to support his vision.
Exactly.
So,
And I'm one of those people, man. Hey, Greg, thank you so much for your time today, man. Thank you for sharing this valuable information, man, and great knowledge. I really appreciate your energy, man. And I'll definitely be in contact and stay in touch with you.
Okay, no, I appreciate it, Wesley. And I'm going to have my assistant. I want you to reach out to my assistant, and she can give you a special coupon code for all your listeners. So if they want to set up a LaunchCard account, they can get a special discount or some free months or something. She'll put something together for you. And then I always end this way. I always tell people, you have to do what I do. If there's one thing you can do that I do this. Wake up every day, the minute you open your eyes, with attitude of gratitude, tell somebody you love them, and I promise you'll have a better day.
Man, absolutely. Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.